Hi, my name is Kayla Alcorn. I did my presentation and my study on body fat percentage and lean muscle mass. The main point is to figure out the correlation between those and cardiovascular exercise. So the background of my study is it was performed on 20 males. There was 10 in each control group and 10 in the study group. Each group had the same diet. Putting them on the same diet helped to eliminate variations and helped to make sure there was no errors in the findings that we had. One group could exercise however they wanted, and the other group did cardiovascular exercise that was prescribed to them to make sure they were all doing the exact same exercises. The purpose of my study is to see if doing cardiovascular exercise 3 times a week for 30-minute periods would help to lose body fat percentage but gain lean muscle mass. This cardiovascular exercise was performed at a moderate level because each group of males had performed some exercises before. This is an issue because most people don't know how to work out for what they want. If they want to lose weight, they may think that cardio is the only option for them. If they want to gain muscle, they may think that cardio is not an option and just go into weight training and strength training and things like that. What they need to know is that some exercises can do both. Another reason we want to focus on this is obesity is increasing in the United States. We have a higher rate than ever of obesity. So if we can get people to understand how to work out for their body type and how to lose that weight in a controlled setting, then we can increase the health of our country as a whole. Many people also associate weight with their fat only and not muscle. This is another misconception because muscle actually weighs more than fat. So if you are muscular with less fat, you could weigh more than you did when you just had body fat percentage on you. The reason that we need to further our research in this area is to understand how exercises affect the body. Again, by people knowing that cardiovascular exercises may benefit them in more ways than one could help them. It also helps if they know that strength training and muscle resistance, how it's going to affect them and what they need to do to make sure they're doing it in a healthy way. More research in this area would also prove that weighing more does not necessarily mean that an individual is fat. This goes back to the point of muscle weighing more than fat does. The problem that I have is, will 30 minutes of moderate cardiovascular exercise 3 times a week help to lose body fat percentage and gain lean muscle mass? The hypothesis that I came up with is that doing cardiovascular exercise will lead to a decrease in body fat percentage and an increase in lean muscle mass, again, due to the fact that muscle weighs more than fat. The method here, I'm going to start with how I have my groups set up. So the participants in the study I chose were all male, ages 25 to 30. I chose not to include females because I wanted to keep my groupings small and be able to focus on the important parts of my data. If I had included females in it, I would have had to come up with more categories and looked at more options weighing in on the results. Every male I picked had previous exercise experience. I chose this because I wanted to push them at a moderate level and make sure that they were able to handle it. If I would have picked males with no exercise experience, it may have pushed them too much. The men I then separated into 2 groups. At the beginning of the study, each group was weighed, had their arms and waist measured, and their body fat percentage calculated. At the end of the study, each group had those same measurements taken again. The instruments that we used was just a regular bathroom scale to take their weight, a soft body measurement tape, that way we could wrap it around to get the circumference of their arms and waist without it kinking up or bending weird, and we can get an accurate result of that. And then to take their body fat percentage, I used a skin fold caliper. The skin fold measurements were taken at the abdomen, the iliac, the quadriceps, and the triceps. In order to get those 4 results, we were then able to put them into an equation to calculate the exact percentage of body fat that we were looking for. The statistical tests that we used were a one-way ANOVA and a regression equation. I used the one-way ANOVA because I had the exact same amount of data points for my 2 groups, and I was only comparing weight and waist circumference at the end to tell the difference. The regression equation allowed me to use those 2 variables and compare them to get my results. The only other calculation that I used was for a body fat percentage. Once again, I took my 4 areas that the body fat was taken, plugged those numbers into the equation, and that gave me my total percentage. What I found in this study is that my p-value was less than 0.5%, but more than 0.0%. It ranged about 0.2 to 0.3% for this. What this shows is that there was a significant correlation between the aerobic exercises and the weight loss. The group that performed the cardiovascular exercise stayed at a relatively same body weight, but did not lose a significant amount of body fat percentage. Overall, this shows me that my null hypothesis was correct. It shows me that this is correct because their weight stayed the same, but their circumference of their waist went down, the skin fold test went down, which shows us that body fat was lost and muscle was gained. It was hard to compare my study to others. I searched for a while and was unable to find studies with the same tests. Most of the studies I found either compared cardiovascular activity to weight loss or cardiovascular activity to body fat, but none of them really explained how the body fat percentage decreases while the lean muscle mass could increase. Hopefully there's more studies in the future that can help with this. So, for future research, it should be done to help aid people in what type of exercise they should be performing. Again, the goal of my study was to tell people that cardiovascular exercise is good for you in multiple ways. The cardiovascular exercise helps to decrease body fat percentage while increasing lean muscle mass. The lower a person can get their body fat percentage to an extent is considered better. We have a range of them that go from very poor to above average. We want everyone to stay in that average to good range, depending on what they're doing. Future research will also help people identify that less weight isn't always healthier. Many people think if they can get down to skin and bones that they're considered healthy, but they need muscle to really function correctly. So this type of study would show them that they can have a small amount of body fat percentage, but still increase their muscle mass to stay in a healthy range that will benefit them. The conclusion from my study is that cardiovascular exercise has multiple benefits when it comes to health. Again, cardiovascular activity will help increase blood flow, increase heart pump rate, it will decrease body fat percentage, increase lean muscle mass. It'll overall increase your aerobic stamina, which is something that everyone can use and we all need to stay healthy. I also can conclude that results did match up correctly with my hypothesis because, again, my p-value was less than 0.5%, so that shows significant findings with the research. Here are my references in case anyone wants to look further into the study. Thank you so much for listening.